Not what I wanted to share. Let's try that again. I do not know how to stop this. All right, oh, there we are. Stop presenting. Let's try that again. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, good morning and welcome to the new certification rules. It's a brave new world. It's going to be a discussion of the new certification rules, personnel certifications, and building departments, featuring a walkthrough in Ohio ID and e-license LPI. I'm Meg Foley. I am the Professional Development Coordinator for the Board of Building Standards, and together with my incredible team, Amy Jones, Pam Butts, and Mike Lane, we're responsible for all the things that intersect with people um, in our certification rules and within the work of the Board of Building Standards, except for investigations and complaints, and that's Laura Burso and Rob Johnson. So we are very happy to be here with you today, and we are looking forward to this presentation. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, Sarah Avram will be joining us after a short video to answer any technical questions you have about Ohio ID and registering for LPI. Today, we will be discussing the new online certification portals. That's really going to be our focus for the first hour, accessing the eLicense portal, when to call and who to call if you run into problems, what will be coming in the future in our portal development process. And then we're going to cover some old information on how the new certification levels work now that we are in the active phase. The new certification rules have been implemented since the 1st of July. And we'll be discussing trainee designation and some issues with building departments on our new portal. And then we'll take a lot of time to answer your questions. So, coming soon. August 4th is our go live date. We've been working for the past 15 months actively with the Ohio Department of Administrative Services to create an online portal for personnel and department accounts. With this new tool, as an external user, you'll be able to update your address, email, and telephone number, reprint your certification cards, check your expiration dates, and eventually track your continuing education online, upload continuing education certifications, apply for new certifications, and apply for endorsements, and renew your certifications online. Do not panic. It seems like it's a lot of change, but it's a system that will soon feel familiar to everyone. We're all pretty used to doing things online. This is just another step in the road. We will be here to help you navigate every change, and so will CSC. They are dedicated helpline for technical problems that you have with Ohio ID and e-license. I will probably use eLicense and LPI interchangeably. LPI is actually a module of the eLicense system that was developed by Salesforce, and so that's the module that our portal has been developed within. All right, we are going to watch a short video on how to enroll in Ohio ID and how to register an e-license and claim your accounts. This is a question we faced a lot from everybody. Each person must have a personal e-license account, a citizen e-license account, in order to then access their certification records under the licensing, permitting, and inspection portal that BBS is building. Each person who holds a certification has to have an individual account. Those people then can also be designated as authorized representatives for building department accounts. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but right now we're going to watch the video. Here we go. Okay, appears we have a audio problem. Let me see what I can do about that. Audio settings. Let me try this again. Sorry for the technical difficulties. All right, let's try this again.
Okay, so we are going to walk through a few different things here. First, we're going to create an Ohio ID account. We're going to use that to register in eLicense LPI. And once we've done that, we are going to locate and claim some certifications that we already had issued outside of the system that now we want to take ownership of so that we can administer those in our new portal. So again, we are starting by creating an Ohio ID account. So this is our starting point, no matter what, whether we've got an Ohio ID account or not. This is the eLicense LPI landing page. It's going to be at lpi.elicense.ohio.gov. We're going to click this Login to LPI button. And that's going to take us here to this screen. So if you already have a citizen account with Ohio ID, very important that it be a citizen account. So, whichever account you might use to, say, renew your license plate with the BMV, you can use that one. You don't want to use a work account because you want to make sure you always have access to it. So if you've already got that citizen account that you're using to renew your license or your plates or anything like that, anything else with the state, you can go ahead and just plug that in here. If you don't have one already, we're going to use this button to make one. So we're going to hit create account, and it's going to ask us for some very basic information here. We're just going to put in a test email to walk through this workflow. All right. And based on the email we enter, it's going to shoot us over a PIN so that it can confirm we have access to that email. And that email address is going to, or that email message with that PIN is going to look like this. So here's our PIN number. We're going to grab that. And we're going to plug it in right here just to confirm that we have access. And it is going to ask us for a little bit more basic information. Now we're going to be walking through this demo as if we are John Smith, who has 2 existing certifications that he needs to find and claim. So we're going to be John Smith here. And John Smith, I think, was actually born in 1990. All right, and we're going to go ahead and make a username. So this is just a silly test username. Make sure it's something that you can remember. You're going to use these credentials to log into eLicense LPI. So make sure when you're creating your Ohio ID that you're making a username and a password that you're going to be able to remember. So that's going to be our username here, and then it's going to ask us to make a password for it. So again, do something you can remember. Hit next. It's going to ask us for a cell phone number. And again, it's going to want us to confirm that we've got access to what we enter via a PIN that it's going to send us. So just go ahead and grab that PIN, plug it right in there. Ooh, I grabbed an old PIN there. Let's make sure we got a new one. All right. So from here, it's going to show us our terms and conditions. We're going to give those a good read to make sure we understand what we're agreeing to. And then we are going to come down here and prove that we are not a robot. So B, chin, ankle, leg, and dog. How many body parts in this list? So let's hope there are no robots on the call getting the cheat code. I see 3 body parts there. We're going to go ahead and create our account. Okay, so now it's telling us it's sent us an email to confirm that our account has been created. We're going to check for that email, and then we're going to be able to log in. So here's that email. And this is also going to have our username here, our Ohio ID username that we created. So you can see it's not going to send us our password, but we will have this for reference in case we lose it. And then we've also got some resources, you know, if we ever forget our password or anything like that. So it's gone ahead and created our account for us. Let's log in. Just using the credentials that we just created. Okay, and now what's happened is we started from the eLicense LPI landing page. We created our Ohio ID, and then we logged in using that Ohio ID, right? We went right back to that first screen we were on and logged in. So it's recognized, eLicense LPI has recognized that it's been given an Ohio ID it hasn't seen before. So it says, okay, so I need you to register in eLicense LPI now because I don't recognize you. So let's get a few more details. So what we entered when we were registering for Ohio ID has fed down here. So we don't need to re-enter our name, our date of birth, our email. There are going to be a couple more details we'll need. So our full social. Since this is a state site, it's going to want a phone number. And then we're going to hit next. And then we're going to see this screen right here. So this screen is giving us an opportunity to locate any certifications that we already hold and claim them. So when it says, do you have other licenses or permits, certifications not shown above that you need access to? It's saying, is there anything that you're looking for, any existing certification that you don't see here? So we're walking through this demo as John Smith, who has 2 certifications. They're not shown here. So yes, there are other licenses or certifications that are not here that we want to find. So we're going to leave this at yes, and we're going to hit next. And then it's going to ask us, who is the agency who issued your certifications that you're looking for? So for us, that's going to be the Board of Building Standards. We're going to choose them, and we're going to hit next. And then it's going to ask us for our certificate number. So this is going to be that single permit number, that single certification number that you use to find your certifications today, right? So for our John Smith, this is going to be 15004. This is the number associated with all his certifications. And that's going to pull up both of his existing certifications we said he had. So you can see he's got a medical gas inspector license and he's got a fire protection system designer license. It's showing us the license number, the certification number, what type of certification it is, who issued it, and it's also showing us the name that's associated with that certification today. So if I am John Smith and I'm coming in and I'm finding my certifications, this is reassuring to me. I see that these are certifications with my name on them. If I saw certifications that said Tracy Jones or something here instead, that was very, very clearly not my name, that should give me pause that that is not necessarily the right certification, and maybe I need to reach out to the help desk or to the Board of Building Standards to just confirm my details. But here we can see that this has turned up the results we expect. For John Smith, we had 2 certifications, and here are our 2 certifications underneath our certification number with our name on them. So these are ours. We're going to go ahead and claim those. All right, and that takes us back to that last screen. So do we have any other licenses, permits, certifications not shown here that we need access to? So we said we only have 2. So these are the ones that we needed access to. So we have everything and we are good to move forward. So from here, you can see it takes us into our eLicense LPI dashboard. So you can do all kinds of things here. You can administer your existing licenses. You can apply for new licenses. You can do all kinds of stuff. But the important point here is just right here. So we can see those 2 certifications that we claimed are right here on our dashboard for us. So we've got our medical gas inspector certification and we've got our fire protection system designer certification. Both of them have our certification numbers, and now our name is on both of them here. And we can do everything we need to administer our licenses here in our dashboard now that we have created an Ohio ID, registered an eLicense LPI, and claimed our existing certifications. So that's it.
All right, thank you, Sarah. That was a great presentation. It was quick, and so we have also posted it on our website. You can go back and review it. Amy posted the link for that in the chat. Thank you, Amy. And so now we're going to cover some of your questions. The first one being, so we can't do this until August 4th. That's correct. The public facing side of the LPI portal is not going to be available until August 4th. At that time, you can sign on. Right now, what you can do is create your OHID and make sure to keep track of your credentials so that when you go to sign on to LPI, you'll already be set with your OHID to be able to access the site. So next, we're going to cover when to call and who to call. And Sarah, are you on the call?
I am. I'm here.
Okay, great. So I put together a short list yesterday, but what did I miss here? You should call CSC. What does CSC stand for?
So that is Customer Service Center. That's our help desk. That's our front line for basically any kind of troubleshooting or system issues that you're having with state systems. So that is CSC, Customer Service Center.
Okay.
So, sorry,
So
go ahead.
David asked a question in the chat explaining a problem he's having with creating an OHID. That might be something that he wants to call the customer service center about, correct?
Yeah, that's a great example of when we would want to reach out to the help desk CSC. So David is saying he has tried to create an Ohio ID multiple times. He gets to the robot test, but then when he tries to go through that, he gets a red ribbon at the top that says it couldn't be verified that he's not a robot. So there are a few different checks that are being done by that system, which is why, like Meg said, it's a good idea to try to go in and set up your Ohio ID before August 4th, even though we won't be able to complete the registration in eLicense LPI until August 4th. Because, there are a bunch of checks that it's going to do. Maybe you'll need to do some troubleshooting ahead of time. So definitely a good idea to give it a shot and see what you get. And if you have any issues, like David mentioned, definitely go ahead and reach out to CSC. CSC is going to be able to help you with any kind of issues with registration, logging in, kind of just general system issues. I'm seeing an error. I'm trying to fill in this field, but for some reason it keeps getting blanked out. So things that are pretty clearly system errors, right? You're going to want to reach out to the help desk first. Um, and if in doubt, reach out to the help desk anyway. If they're not the right ones to reach out to, they can route your requests. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much when you're going to want to reach out to CSCs for that kind of troubleshooting stuff.
And so then we come to when you call BBS. You call us regarding your questions on certification because CSC is not going to know anything about our policies, our procedures, the requirements for certification, or any of our processes. You call us if you can't remember your certification ID number. I will remind you that it was on the letter that we sent you when we sent you your prospective continuing your prospective certifications back in March or April or even as late as July. Um, Call us if you have paper payment issues. Call us if you have questions about specializations or if you have questions about board-specific information, like when's the next board meeting? Or I'd like to come and talk to the committee. How do I do that? Those are things you're going to call BBS about. Several questions um, in the chat. If you already have an e-license, an OHID account, um, then that's all you're going to need to sign into LPI. LPI, yes, is already in production, but you can't access the BBS information yet. That's
Yeah,
going to come when the public portal goes live. Sarah, could you talk more about that?
yeah, absolutely. I also wanted to call out. Um, so if you have an Ohio ID already, right, you're probably familiar with the idea of apps. So to answer Warren's question, um, don't don't go into any apps once you've got an Ohio ID. We'll want you to start from the landing page for eLicense LPI, just like we saw in the video. Start from there. Don't go into any apps, and that'll get you going in the right direction. So just a clarifying point on that one.
Sarah, can you put the e-license landing page in the chat for people to copy and save to their browsers?
Yes, absolutely. Let me grab that.
For those of you are registered with the Architects Board or the Engineers Board or um, other things that also go through Ohio ID, you're already familiar with going into your Ohio ID portal and getting into e-license. Um, or if you're real estate or OCILB, there are options once you get in through your Ohio ID to get into those databases. But as Sarah pointed out, we're going to want to enter through the e-license website in order to actually get rather than going through the apps. Is that correct, Sarah? Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's right. So I've just posted the link into the chat.
Okay, wonderful. Um, so let's talk a little bit more about what you're going to be able to do and what is not going to be available yet. When the portal goes live on August 4th, you'll be able to sign in and claim your accounts. You got to claim your accounts. They're not going to appear in your e-license registration automatically. Please make sure that you have your correct BBS number. That's the number that's going to get you the accounts that exist in your name, in your individual identity. There will be things that won't be available on day one that are being built but are not ready yet. Continuing education dashboards will be coming, but that system is not built yet. We expect that sometime this fall. When that happens, you will be able to see a transcript of your continuing education hours. Likewise, continuing education submission for attendance records by education providers will be coming when we roll out that continuing education module. Yearly operational reports aren't an issue until January, and so that's been backburnered. We're going to build it. We're going to build it right, but that's not going to be available until probably December or January. Renewals will not be available until at least January, but since we continued everybody's certifications to at least June of 2026, that's not an issue for us. An exception is for the fire protection systems designers. The renewal function for them will be up and running when the portal opens. Sarah, is that correct?
Ooh, having trouble finding my mute button. That is right.
Okay, good. Also, online forms, they will be coming but are not there yet for a building department to request changes to plumbing or medical gas enforcement, to add new NICET certifications for fire protection system designers, um, to self-service initiate authorized representative updates for building departments and boards of building appeals, and for requesting a new endorsement through a service request. We're going to be posting a form online for you to be requesting those that you can email back to us because the system just isn't working correctly with that yet. Also, there will be a license lookup tool. That feature will be introduced in a future system update. And when you claim your accounts, you will notice that your endorsements are not currently reporting on your different certifications. So if you have an ESI and a BI, and you will have energy and mechanical and fire, you're not going to be able to see those on your landing page, but you will see them on your certification card. And we will encourage everybody when you sign in, when you get into LPI, print your card right away because you know, that's what you need in order to keep working to demonstrate to your employer that you are currently certified. Go ahead and print it. It's now self-service. You don't have to call the board anymore to ask us to send you a copy of your card. Sarah, do you have more to say about this, about what's coming in the future?
I think you covered a lot of it. So basically what we're going to have to start is a lot of the basic administration options that you're going to need. And then things are going to be improved from there. You know, it's going to be a little bit basic to start out, and then you'll start seeing more and more functionality there for you, and more streamlined functionality. So, yeah, we've got a jumping off point, and it's just going to get better and better.
Charles Dietz just asked, when can we apply for new certifications? Charles, you can apply for new certifications starting August 4th online. But if it's applying for a new endorsement or a specialization, BI, MI, ESI, PI, Fire Protection Inspector, Energy uh, Conservation Inspector, or any of the elective plans examiner roles, those are endorsements, and you're going to want to download the application that we're going to be putting up on the BBS website and sending that in to us directly because that module, unfortunately, isn't working quite yet. All right, can you present the state surcharge reporting? Can you Oh, are you talking about the assessments? Let's, I'm going to put you on pause for just a second because we're going to get to that in a minute here.
Hey Meg, could
Yes,
we revisit a different question in the chat real quick?
yes.
Um, I'd like to go back to Don, who was asking, I already have an Ohio ID and I have both a professional engineer and engineering firm in the portal through the engineering board. So I should be able to see the BBS options after August 4th. So yes, one clarification here. If you already have licenses issued by other agencies that are in e-license, so engineering, architecture board, any kind of those boards over there. Uh, there is a portal that is for that system. Keep using the portal that you already use for those licenses, right? So there is an eLicense Ohio portal that you're already going to be used to administering your engineering license in, your architecture licenses in. Keep doing that there. The idea is eLicense LPI is the new version. So what we have is the new portal, right? So it's going to be separate for a little while. And then all of the agencies in the old portal are going to be coming over to join us. So eventually, your engineering licenses, your architecture licenses, if you've got a barber license, if you've got a medical license, any of those licenses, they'll come over and be in this single portal, and you'll just have one place to look. For right now, your BBS licenses are going to be in a separate portal. So if you go to that eLicense LPI landing page, it will still link you to the old portal. So you can get to either one that you need to. But just wanted to call that out because it's a little different. They're not going to be all together. They're going to be separate portals just to start.
Thanks, Sarah. Um, so I have a few pending questions that I'm going to get to in order here. But the first thing that we're going to do is reiterate some of the points from Sarah's video. Your actions to take now is to have your citizen account ready. Um, you'll need that OHID citizen account, not an employer or contractor OHID to access the new portal. It has to be a citizen account. If you are in a retirement status and it's linked to your old employee number, you're going to need to talk to CSC because I know factually of a person who is having difficulty creating a citizen ID because she's a retiree from the state. Keep an eye out for eLicense LPI portal job aid that will be available by August 4th. It's going to be a user-friendly job aid to guide you through the navigating the system with confidence. For questions after go live or about your OHID account, contact the customer service center and then contact BBS with certification or specialization questions. So one person asked way back, can we have a copy of this PowerPoint? Yes, we'll make that available to anybody who just writes me an email to request it. And I will also post a copy of it on our website. It'll be a PDF version. This recording will also be posted on our website so that people can review or show it to somebody who wasn't able to make this class. And we will be sending out certificates for continuing education for this class. Probably it'll be a 2-hour certificate of continuing education. It'll be code administration. So it's going to cover 2 hours of your code administration training. Let's go back to the question, will Ohio ID, oh, that's a good question, Brent. Sarah, can you cover that from Brent? Will the Ohio ID allow us to have 2 accounts with the same email address? The answer is probably no, but Sarah, if you can explain that in a little more depth.
Yeah, it won't. It's going to ask you for a unique ID or a unique email. So you're going to want to have separate ones if you need multiple Ohio IDs. Um, Now, here's the second point to this question. So the question is, will the Ohio ID allow us to have two accounts with the same email address? I have a contractor Ohio ID as well as needing one for building department, right? So there's a couple points here. I have a contractor Ohio ID. So that's good to know. You're going to want to also create a citizen Ohio ID, just like it says here. So if you've got an Ohio ID that's issued to you through some kind of state employment, whether you're a full-time state employee or a contractor for the state, you're going to want to set up a new Citizen Ohio ID with a personal email. The reason is, right, if you leave your job, you still need access to your professional licenses. So it's just going to be good to use a personal email that you're always going to have access to. So that's kind of that first point there. Second point, you don't need a separate Ohio ID for a building department. So Ohio IDs are only for individuals. They're only for people. So when you register yourself as an individual in the system, you're going to have an Ohio ID. And then whenever you interact with anything in the system, you're going to be kind of known to the system by your Ohio ID. So that's for people. Building departments won't have an Ohio ID. When you're logged in as an individual, if you're allowed to administer a building department license, that's a separate mechanism. You're going to be able to have access to it, but you won't need a separate Ohio ID for it. You'll still just be logged into your individual account, if that helps at all.
Okay, I'm going to skip forward a few slides because there's a question about assessments, and I wanted to talk about this. We are going to have to manually assign authorized representatives for building departments, and that process is likely to take us about a month after go live. During the time when we have not yet assigned your authorized representatives to sign in and interact with the building department account, you'll want to continue to send in your paper forms and your paper checks. Once we have your authorized representative in place for your building department, then you will be able to fill out the assessment form online, and you hopefully will be able to pay electronically. If your jurisdiction does not allow you to do that, you can print the payment due as an invoice, issue a check, and we will input the check manually so that your fees are paid for each month. Once representatives are associated, they will be able to use Manage My Employees service request to associate personnel in specific roles within the building department and also designate people as trainees in one or more specializations. And if you have people to designate as trainees before authorized representatives are designated, contact me or contact us at bbs.com, bbs@com.ohio.gov. But for assessments, until we have those authorized representatives in place, you will continue to send in your paper forms. Amit had a question, will we be able to look up our employee certifications and applicants for jobs? Amit, there will be a public lookup function, and also as you're associating people, you can put in their certification number that they have provided to you and see if they are certified to do the things that you have designated them to be or would like to designate them to be. Sarah, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so for our folks who have engineering, architecture licenses, any other license in the oldie license system, right? You guys are probably going to be familiar with our public license lookup over in that portal. It is available to the public, not just to licensees. Anyone can go in and plug in the information that they know. and pull up a license to just verify some basic details, like, what kind of license is it? Is it active? If an agency publishes like additional information, it'll be there too. But just kind of those basic statistics, like how is this person licensed and is their license active? So you will have something similar in the new portal that will be coming very shortly. I don't think it's going to be there on August 4th. I think it's probably going to roll out a little bit later in the summer. But like Meg said, you'll be able to plug in either the license number. If you have it, you'll be able to search by name. It's a pretty flexible search. So you will be able to pull up and verify those licenses.
Sarah, I have a question about that public lookup. Will it be reporting not only on the certifications held by people, but also the endorsements that they have? Because that's going to be important information for building officials to be able to look up, or their personnel, their HR people to be able to look up to see that this person is in fact certified to perform the role that they are qualified, that they are being hired to perform.
Yes. So if you look at the license lookup in the old portal, if you pull open the license details, one of the things that you can see is any endorsements on the license, which I think we got a question on earlier in the chat as well. Please clarify the difference between a certificate and an endorsement. So that might be helpful to go into a little bit here. Your certification is your primary license, right? The actual license or certification that you were issued. And then your endorsement is a specialization, just like Meg said. It's a little bit of extra authority that's been added on to your license. ESI or BI, like those examples that Meg was saying. It's a little bit of extra authority that you've shown that you qualify for, and it's been added onto your license. So in the old e-license portal, we have the license lookup. You pull up a license, you open the license details, and you can see any endorsements that are included on that license. So, if you think about an example like the medical board, they have like a physician's assistant license, and one of the endorsements that license can have is prescriptive authority, right? So that physician's assistant, if they hold that endorsement, they also are able to prescribe. It's just a little bit of extra authority on the license. So that will be there for us in our license lookup as well.
And Christine, we're going to cover that a little bit more a little later, because I know that it's hard for us at BBS getting our head around the change in the rules and what it actually means when we say somebody is residential and limited commercial as opposed to combination inspector or combination plans examiner, and what does limited commercial mean anyway. So we're going to be covering that a little bit more after we let Sarah go, because we are appreciative of her time, but we know that her time is limited. And so we're just going to get a couple more questions that Sarah might be able to answer. Chris, I was going to address your question, and I think we already addressed that. Until authorized representatives are associated with building departments will need to continue to pay their 1% and 3% assessments in the old way, sending in a paper form with a paper check. Once authorized representatives are assigned to building departments, then those building departments that have authorized representatives assigned will be able to sign into the portal, access the building department or residential department certification, and fill out a service request to report their assessment amounts and pay online if they choose to, or print an invoice and send that in to us with a check where we can process the check manually to apply to that invoice. So that's what we are going to be working towards. We expect that'll be early to mid-September when that's actually available to you online. YORs will be available to you starting in January to complete your YOR online and submit online. And it's going to have a lot of neat features where it's going to import the personnel you've already associated with your building department. So you're not going to have to reinvent the wheel on a whole bunch of stuff. Because you will, once you get your authorized representative online, you're going to associate your personnel then. It'll be kind of a big, quick blast of some work, and then you can just manage adding people as they come in, removing people as they leave your department to go someplace else, and all of that information will then report on your YOR so that you have an accurate snapshot to present to BBS. We're trying to make this easier for you as well as more useful for us so that we have searchable data. I see a lot of questions popping up. Um, and the first question that I'm going to actually address is the how would we set up a separate account for the building department? Sarah, you want to address that?
Yeah, absolutely. So if your building account already exists, you don't need to worry about setting up an account for it. Basically, an account was already created. And just like Meg walked us through, you're going to want to register yourself as an individual using the process that we just saw in that video at the beginning of the call. And then you're going to want to reach out to have your individual account associated with the department account that's already been created. So you don't need to worry about creating those accounts new. For new accounts, right now that process is working kind of similarly to how it did when it was on paper. It's getting the information about the department in the application if you're setting up a new one. So that account creation process is all part of the new application process in the new system. So kind of long story short, don't worry about creating accounts for the building departments. It's kind of built in.
Okay. So let me remind everybody, let's mute our mics if you're not actively speaking online. I see that we have several other questions. Amy, thank you for posting the RLC explainer in the chat. That I think is really helpful. That's also on our frequently asked questions within our BBS site on the new rules implementation. We've got a lot of great information posted there. Amy, can you post a link to the website of where the new rules presentation so that's another good question from Dave K. Can you use a city email rather than personal for department use? Sarah.
So here's one more kind of point of separation that I want to make here. So just like we talked about, everybody is going to register as an individual, and then the department accounts are going to be separate. So if you already have a building department account, it exists. It already exists. You're already a licensed building department. We already have the email that was on file for that department, and it is associated with the department in the system. So emails are already going to go out to the department email as it is. So you don't need to worry about that. Whenever you're registering, you still want to use a personal email because the email that's associated with you as an individual is not the email that's associated with the department. There's a difference between your individual user and what's on file for the department, right? If you're ever filling out a new application for a new department license, right? You're setting up a new residential department or a new commercial department or whatever you need to do, and you're filling out an application for that. It's going to ask you for an email for the department at that point. So again, it's always going to be separate. You never need to worry about, I'm working for the department, so I need to make sure that when I register as an individual, I use the department email. It's going to be separate things. So short answer is yes, you can use a city email for the building department email. It's just going to be a separate email for your own personal individual account. Turning it back over to you, Meg.
Sorry, we had a great question in the chat. That question is, I don't hold any certifications, but take care of renewals, assessment reports, and YORs. Am I understanding correctly that the CBO will need to submit my name as an authorized representative? Yes, building departments may have multiple authorized representatives, and that's a perfect example of how they might designate authorized representatives to interact with the building department account, to manage employees, to file assessment reports and do YORs, even to, I don't know that you will be able to do renewals for individual employees. I think that's something that we're still working out. Um, but
Yeah, at least
everything
not to
else you'll be
start.
able to do.
Yeah, I can tell you it's not the functionality is not going to be there to start. Um, I have a question mark in my mind about whether it's being developed for another agency and whether we might be able to piggyback off of it. But at least to start, individuals are going to need to renew their own licenses. Yep.
However, the renewal process is going to be a lot easier. You'll be able to upload your education and click renew, pay online, and then we'll process that and you'll be renewed. It will be quick, it will be easy, it will be simple. It will not be assembling 50 certificates to mail into BBS with a paper check and then wonder whether we've processed your renewal 3 weeks later because we just got slammed with 150 renewals that week. So, let's see. Can they print it out? That's a good question. Again, unknown user, if you can they print it out so that we can pay for it with a check? That's a question for the future. We're not certain, and the renewal function hasn't been fully developed yet. That's a possibility, or you may be reimbursing your employees when they've paid with their debit card or credit card. Um, Paul Fussner, you should have already received a letter from BBS with your information on your converted certification. Um, but in order to claim your converted certifications, you will go through the steps that were defined within the video of accessing eLicense LPI and then signing in with your Ohio ID and then registering an e-license and then claiming your existing certifications through the process of entering your certification ID number, and it will search out your existing certifications and you can associate them to your e-license account. Sarah, did I say that right?
You said it perfect.
All right. Okay. So the questions, if you do not have your letter, if you lost your letter, if you did not receive a letter, please email me, mfoley@com.ohio.gov, and it'll be on the final page of this presentation. I will send you your letter or copy of your letter showing your certifications that were issued by BBS that are now in effect. And until the portal is open, this is your demonstration of current certification. It will contain your new certifications, the level, any endorsements, and your expiration dates. And so just let me know if you did not receive it or if you need another copy of it because it's disappeared. I will be happy to get that to you. It will have your certification number on it so that you have that. hold that paper in front of you as you're registering with eLicense LPI so that you can look down and see, oh, look, there's my certification number. I'm going to put that in. That will help you have all the paperwork you need assembled in order to effectively claim your accounts and move forward in this new licensing portal. Let's see. Will you cover manage my employees section? I will in a minute. Let's see. And our finance still wants to pay by check for renewals. Again, as we're building out the renewal piece of this, we're going to be asking for that because we know that some departments would like to pay by check or even by EFT as opposed to reimbursing multiple employees. So we'll be keeping that idea in mind as we proceed with the building out of the renewal process. To have somebody who says, I see my certifications in the portal. Should I ignore it until after 8/4? Sarah?
Yes, please don't try to log in or register until 8/4. So like Don just found, you might be able to get in early. Please don't do it. It's not ready for you. We want to make sure that your experience is good. So we're going to ask you to hold off on trying to go in and look at anything or interact with anything until August 4th.
Okay. Sarah, I appreciate your time. If you can hang out for a few more minutes, that'd be great. If you cannot, I really appreciate having you here. Does anybody have any specific questions for Sarah before we let her go? All right, hearing none. Sarah, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Meg. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Okay, a few more questions to cover. Let's see. Dwayne asks, can you cover the manage my employees section or explain what it's used for? Manage my employees is used to associate people to your building department within the required roles and the certification rules. Um, building official, combination plans examiners, or a group of plans examiners in a variety of elective plans examination roles, um, combination inspectors, residential and limited commercial with the specializations that you need to cover: building, mechanical, energy, fire, electrical, plumbing, if your department does plumbing, in a residential department, associating your people who have residential electrical or residential plumbing, associating the people who are doing the work with you in your department as a plans examiner or as the residential building official. Um, although all residential certifications are actually that residential code official, which is combined with limited commercial because all of those have specializations that can attach to them. Um, it is it is a tool to keep your personnel list up to date with BBS, which is a requirement in the rules, and also a tool to maintain a record for yourself that will then port into your yearly operational report so you don't have to re-enter everything at that time. I'm going to be prepping a worksheet that you can also use to keep track of other information for your yearly operational report so that it's all assembled for you essentially when you get ready to file it. Um, we see a lot of text questions popping up. Um, let's see. Do we have a deadline for creating an account and getting through the necessary steps? Ray, there's not a deadline. We would appreciate people getting in there as soon after August 4th as possible because it's beneficial to you and it also shows us that our process is working. Um, but you certainly want to claim it sometime before the end of the year. I would say that our goal is going to be like 100 to 95 to 100% claimed by the end of December so that we can be ready for our yearly operational reports. We can be ready for the first set of renewals that'll be coming due in June. And also, your department may want to have you claim your certification so that they can then search you by name to put them into the Manage My Employees, because right now it's just numbers. Those numbers aren't associated with a person account yet. Until you claim your person account and associate your certifications with your person account, they're kind of just floating out there in the system. So the week of August 4th, set aside a little bit of time to run through getting registered in LPI. Get your Ohio ID ahead of time. Get registered in LPI. Week of August 4th would be great. If you are having trouble doing it, call CSC. Also, BBS is going to be doing some outreach, probably at the various ABOA chapter meetings to have people to have a kiosk there for people to be able to get registered and claim their accounts at that time if people need someone there with them walking them through it. If you get it and you see somebody else struggling with that, please lend them a hand. We all work together cooperatively in order to make this better and easier for everybody. Um, and so I'm happy to entertain more questions about portal specific stuff, and then we're going to move on to some real heavy duty certification stuff. Let's see. Email address to receive letter, please. If you have not received your letter and you need a copy of the letter, please email mfoley at com.ohio.gov, and I'm going to put it in the chat. Or you can always email bbs at com.ohio.gov. Authorized personnel, every authorized personnel will need an LPI account even if they don't hold certifications. So, because we need to have somebody in the system to hook into that business account. So yes, they'll need to create their Ohio ID and register in eLicense LPI to create their account within LPI in order to be a person present to be an authorized representative to that business account. If everybody does it the week of the 4th, will the system crash or run slow? I certainly hope not. Yeah, who knows, right? Will you be able to associate employees with multiple departments? Yes, each department will be able to associate an employee to their department, even if they're also associated with other departments. Canon Plans Examiner, same question. Have their e-license account tied to 2 or 3 different departments? Yes. We have built this system that to reflect the way our systems actually work, where we know that people work for multiple departments at once. And so we knew going into developing this system that people would need to be available and associated with multiple departments. and also associated within one department in multiple roles or in multiple departments in multiple roles. So we have absolutely taken that into account as we're developing this. We are definitely going to be continuing to work as we build this out to make sure that the developers heard us loud and clear when we say we must be able to associate the same person with multiple accounts within a with multiple roles and within a department, with multiple departments, and with multiple roles in multiple departments. Okay. All right, I am going to move backwards here to put up the contact screen for CSC. No, no, come on. Their number is 855-405-5514. That is the troubleshooting line for all of your getting online problems, any problems with Ohio ID, any problems claiming your account in LPI. Please hold off on claiming your accounts in LPI and please hold off on calling CSC with problems claiming your accounts in LPI until August 4th. We actually are doing a training with CSC, both BBS and CSC, to walk through the troubleshooting and quirks about LPI next Thursday or Wednesday. And so they have not yet been trained in this system. So please hold off calling CSC about LPI issues until August 4th. Okay. Any more distinct questions? IU. Um, we do not offer an IU certification. However, there is a certification that is a combination inspector. If people previously held industrial unit, non-residential industrialized unit inspector, then they will now hold the combination inspector. But in order to hold the combination inspector moving forward, you will need to hold your energy, mechanical, electrical, fire, plumbing, and building inspector certifications if you were to apply today. Um, okay, Paul has a question about the system. I want to keep my certifications current even though I am retired. Will this system allow that to happen? Paul, you can maintain your certifications for as long as you would like. You just need to claim your account within the system. You will receive emails from the system when it's time for you to get online to start registering or to start your renewal process. And you will be able to upload your continuing education attendance records to the online portal so that it will build a transcript for you to demonstrate that you have your 30 hours of continuing education, including your 3 hours of code administration, 3 hours of existing buildings, and 1 hour of Ohio ethics. Those are still requirements, everybody. 3 hours of code administration, 3 hours of existing buildings, 1 hour of Ohio ethics are required each renewal cycle. Okay. Any more questions? Let's take a 5-minute break because I need to get a drink of water, and then we'll be back on to finish out this program. Take a break, everybody. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for allowing me a quick break. I really appreciate it. Um, and so I am going to move on to talking about specifics within the certification rules. We have our certification specialist online, Amy Jones. And so, Amy, I'm going to put you on the spot here and ask you, what are the top three misunderstandings or misperceptions or just confusions that you've been dealing with since our new rules went live?
I think the biggest thing is the RLC. People continue to call in asking, one, what is RLC? And two, is it in place of the RBO, which is correct. And um, you, I guess the second one would be you don't lose any certifications that you currently hold. Just because it's not listed on the card does not mean that you lose anything. You don't go backwards and you don't lose anything. And I think the third may be this current slide up that the levels are not going to be listed on the certification card. It will say RLC, BI, EN, which again, EN stands for the energy, and MI, and then whatever else that you have. So the RLC essentially takes place of the RBO. You do not lose any certifications. You don't go backwards. And the levels are not going to be listed on the card. And also, actually, Meg, the levels really isn't going to be posted anywhere, correct? It's just more of a guide, a stepping stone guide for their pathway.
That's correct. The levels are not going to be called out anywhere within our portal system. Um, the difference between a level 2 and a level 3 is whether you hold any commercial specializations, for example. But you're not going to be able to see it on your card or in your uh, online account. Is going to say that your certification is an RLC, and then it'll list your endorsements below it. Um, but our rules do refer to the levels, and so that's why we still continue to define these different categories as belonging to levels.
I'm putting in the chat now the link that I've put in probably 3 times now to our page. Under resources is the matrix. That is where the levels are found, what it takes to get to each level and then to proceed, to the top if you wish. So you will go under resources, and it's the certification level matrix. Also, beside the resources tab is the Q&A, and that is where a lot of the questions that's already in the chat will be found as well, especially what the RLC means. If you hold a level 3 or above, do I need to hold a separate certification to perform residential? So we've kind of outlined what is a level 5 commercial building official authorized to do. So we've outlined some of the important questions that we have continuously got throughout this process. So the link that I just put in the chat, go to the two main things is, well, the three main things is the video for the certification rules, the matrix, and the Q&As.
Okay, North Olmsted asked the question, how do we confirm what email address our building department is on file with BBS? And Amy pointed out that you can always email BBS to add the correct email. But for designated authorized representatives, we're actually going to be putting out a survey and asking people to respond to that survey, identifying who they're going to be authorizing as their representatives and identifying the so that we can then link those people to the business account. So that's why the process is going to take a little while, because it's A, we're going to need to wait for people to respond to us, and B, it's going to take us some time to link those people to their accounts. Um, all right, so let's talk about your specific questions about certifications. I've realized recently that I was still thinking within the old terminology. Um, and so a person who was a BI, a building inspector, is now a level 3 residential code official and limited commercial inspector with the specializations of building, energy conservation, mechanical, and fire protection inspector. And those 4 specializations don't expire. The only thing that expires, will need to be renewed, is that level 3 residential plus limited commercial inspector. That person who previously held their BI is allowed to perform all functions of the residential building department except for electrical and plumbing, and they're able to perform inspections for building, mechanical, energy conservation, and fire protection, just as they were under the old rules. New people who apply will need to describe their experience within building, within mechanical, within energy, and within fire protection to get the same number of specializations that our grandfathered in certification holders have gotten. If you were an interim prior to the changeover to the new rules, you do not have to take any tests that were not designated for you before the rules changed. Now, there is one caveat to that for people who held their RBI or RBO prior to the rule change. They will um, they will be able to take their energy conservation in place of plumbing or electrical for residential if they so choose. Um, so questions. That's a great point, Amy. Yet, unknown user. Anything anything that a residential building department does, including plans examiners, anybody who is a limited commercial inspector or higher can do that, with the exception of residential electrical and residential plumbing inspections, unless they hold either the related commercial certification for electrical or plumbing, or they have qualified for the residential specialization for electrical or plumbing or both. And here's our list of specializations. My, okay, another point for Mike. Uh, if they qualified for the building and mechanical and energy and fire protection, as a newly certified person, they qualify for those specializations. The ICC exams cover the B2 plus M2 cover fire protection, and the NCP CCI exams actually offer a separate fire protection, and those can be used in place of the CA and CF for fire protection specialization. Okay. More questions? Nobody will need to take additional exams to maintain the certifications they currently have. The question is, will a current level 6 comprehensive code official need to take the energy exam to maintain their certification? Um, Nobody will need to take new exams. If you held the certification prior to the changeover and you've completed the examinations that had you meeting that requirement, you are set. If you were an MPE prior to the changeover and you took the 4 exams, you don't have to go back and take the additional fire protection and energy conservation plans examination exams. Okay. Another question here. With this new certification level setup, is someone who is an interim now a level 1? No. If you held an interim certification prior to our changeover, you are considered to be within the initial certification period of your certification. Interim certification holders were allowed to perform all the duties of the certification that they held. Same with initial certification period personnel. They're allowed to perform all the duties of the certification that they hold. If someone has qualified for their electrical safety inspector specialization, but has not yet taken the test, a department may hire that person and designate them as a trainee and train them in electrical safety inspection while they prepare for and complete the examination. Okay, here's a question about master plans examiners. If someone was previously designated as a master plans examiner, they are now a level 4, oops, combination plans examiner. We changed the terminology, and that level 4 combination plans examiner now, that group can now include people who have developed all of the individual elective plans examiner skills and demonstrated competency in looking at the whole building as well as the individual scopes of work. Okay. More questions? Is this starting to make more sense for people? If you have questions that pop up and pop into your head, um, after this presentation is over, we will be posting a recording of this presentation online. You can always email Amy or me or bbs@com.ohio.gov with your questions. We can send out on request, we'll send out the PDF of this presentation so that you can have it to refer back to. And the online and your electronic version will have links in it to the new certification matrix, to our certification implementation rules page, and to that video on how to access your OHID and LPI account. Please bear with us. We know that this is not the smoothest of processes, and we regret that that's the case, but we want to get it right, and we thought that getting it right was better than getting it on time. We are looking forward to welcoming you to the new portal and working with you to improve that new portal as it continues in development. And we again appreciate all you do for your communities and our close relationship with all of our certified personnel. Please, our email boxes are open. Please send us questions. Please let us know if you have difficulties. Please contact CSC if you have problems getting into Ohio ID and eventually your LPI account, and don't do that until August 4th. But because they're the technical experts, we'll be able to do things like reset your passwords and troubleshoot what the problem is that you're having getting online. But again, please always contact us with questions you have regarding BBS. We are always here to help. Here's a QR code to our new certification rules page if that works better for you than the links. And one last bit. Does anybody have any further questions? As I said, this presentation is being recorded and the recording will be posted, and you can email me for a PDF version. You'll receive email communications next week and the week after with any additional information on getting into the portal. And next week, we will be sending out your certificates for those of you who registered for this program or input your email address at sign-in for the presentation. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks. We'll give you back a half an hour of your time. We really appreciate your time and attention. Amy, do you have anything to add at the end?
No, just of course, just view the website. That's where all updates are going to be posted. That's where all of these videos are posted. Again, the biggest thing is we're moving to digital. Everything is going to be streamlined. So Regina has done a great job of keeping the website updated, and that's where the matrix is. And again, visit the Q&A portion of that for a lot of the general questions. But website, website, website.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.